Thank you, Denisha. Good morning and welcome to the Greenville Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. My name is Sabrina Walker and I serve this congregation as one of the board trustees. Whether you have been with us on Sundays for a long time or are visiting for the first time today, we welcome you to our service, especially today. This congregation is a theologically diverse religious community with participation open to all who agree to live into our principles, mission, and values. We are a welcoming congregation to people of all sexual orientations and gender identities, races, ethnicities, and abilities, and we unconditionally welcome you as your full, authentic self to our community of caring and commitment to grow as spiritual and moral beings. Our congregational mission is to strengthen our connections to one another and our planet by enlivening minds and spirits, building community through liberating love, and advocating fiercely for justice. It is a custom in this congregation to acknowledge visitors and newcomers. If it's your first time here, would you mind raising your hand so that we can acknowledge you? Yeah. Welcome. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. There's a green mug right here that you can find in the fellowship hall. If you'd like to be surrounded by us, you are invited to take one of the green mugs and we will come and greet you more officially. New and newer folks are invited to grab that green mug located just inside the door of the fellowship hall so we can easily spot you. You are also welcome to fill out one of the green cards that can be found in the backs of the pew so that we can keep in touch with you. Simply drop the card in the offering basket or in the box at the welcome table in the foyer. Please know that whatever your religious history, whatever your personal theology, all people of goodwill are welcome here. Your presence makes us better. Your presence makes us whole. Our service will now begin. We have a message from Letitia.
To help with Western North Carolina and the approach of the cold weather in the mountains, I'm going to take a big collection, hopefully, of warm clothing and bedding, such as sleeping bags, blankets, coats, as well as, I've been told by friends up there, muck boots, anything that you can deal with walking in the woods, so shoes and boots that are sturdy. If you have any gently used items to donate, I'm planning to drive a big trailer up to Asheville area as soon as I can get the load together. So contact me and I can pick it up, or you can bring it here, or we'll make it happen. Thank you. True, yeah, you can do Venmo to me. I have Venmo, and I'll apply it. I haven't made an account for that, but it's a good idea, I guess. I just decided after talking to people on the phone up there that it's not that they need food and water. That's being taken care of by FEMA. It's more with this cold weather coming very soon, very fast, that they need. Oh, thank you, thank you.
For our chalice lighting today, I would like to share with you part of our congregational covenant, which describes the commitment we make to each other. We live our lives with kindness, understanding, respect, generosity, and patience for each other and the world around us.
As we gather in this moment together, let us center ourselves in the quiet beauty of this, our sacred space. Feel the love, support, and care of friends who surround you. We are connected to the world and to one another. May we honor the beauty and indeed the power of nature, but also the strength within us, the collective spirit that binds us in this shared journey. Let peace settle into your heart, and let us breathe deeply, knowing that we are held in love and community.
Let's join in hymn 326, please.
Good morning. I'm David Funderburk. I'm the Director of Religious Education here at GUUF. And after our story today, any kindergarten through high school children and youth are welcome to come with me downstairs to our RE Commons for activities. This is the first Sunday of the month, and this year, every first Sunday of the month, we will do our religious education programs all together, kindergarten or through high school downstairs, so we can enjoy our craft spaces and our library and our RE Commons all together. So if you're a parent, after the service, you can go down the hall and down the stairs at the end of the hallway to find your kids downstairs. So I welcome any children or youth or anyone of any age who would like to hear our story up close to come up front and sit on the floor at the base of the steps or in the front pews. Our book today is about noticing the beauty all around us. Now, you might have noticed this week that when something disrupts our life, like a big storm, or the power going out, or you lose the internet and you can't watch the shows you usually like to watch, that you might start to notice things about the world that you didn't notice before. But you may not realize that you always have that power to notice things and see the world in a new light. And so that's what this book is about today. It's called Noticing by Kobe Yamada, illustrated by Elise Hurst. It's a beautiful day, isn't it? It seemed as if someone was talking to me. It's okay, I guess, I replied. Just okay? A woman sitting nearby responded. Why, we have the birds, the trees, the sky, the questions, the what-ifs, and the why-nots. I'd say this is indeed an exceptional day to be alive, don't you think? If you say so, I shrugged. It seemed like an ordinary day to me. Are you a painter? I asked. I like to think of myself as more of a noticer, really, she answered. I just try to make things from what I see. It is my way of appreciating and honoring them. As I looked at her canvas, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. How could someone create something so amazing, I wondered. She was definitely a painter. She looked over to me and asked, when you look up, what do you see? Clouds? You see clouds? That's all? Just clouds? The painter asked, astonished. I think so, I said, uncertain, as I scanned the sky. Why? What do you see? Oh, so much, she said excitedly. It's like the whole sky is tempting me to be amazed. I see wild horses running free and upside-down castles. I see whales flying like songbirds and a dragon breathing fire. But it's not only that. I'm filled with butterflies of excitement. It feels like an adventure is unfolding, and I don't want to miss any of it. I stared up, wanting to see what she saw. The more you pause and allow for the extraordinary, the painter explained, the more you find it. And often, what we see depends on what we look for. Take this mountain, for instance. She gestured to the horizon. A climber might see a great challenge. A scientist might see the movement of an ancient glacier. And someone else might notice the cool breeze traveling from its snowy peaks. Though we all may look at the same thing, we don't always see it in the same way. That is true for mountains and also for people. When we look at others, we may see their faces or their clothes, she continued, but we're only seeing a tiny piece of who they really are. We often don't notice the important things, like their capacity for love, what they hope for, what they dream of, or who they can become. We can often miss the most beautiful parts of them. I wondered what I wasn't noticing. I wondered what I was missing. What do you see in you? Asked the painter. I looked down at my hands, my clothes, my shoes that were a size too big so I could grow into them. Just a kid like any other kid, I suppose. But you're not like anyone else. In fact, there isn't another person exactly like you anywhere, the painter encouraged. And the amazing thing is, there's never been and there never will be again. I'm not sure there's anything all that special about me, I said. Oh, but everything is special about you. There really isn't a single thing about you that isn't extraordinary, she shared enthusiastically. You are the rare and unique combination of what was and the bright possibility of what can be. And you know what? So is everyone else. Everyone shines and needs to be seen. Everyone wants to know that they matter, that there's a place for them, that they are needed. Sure, some may hide their brilliance, but the light is in there, always flickering. And it is a beautiful thing when we can reflect it back to them. I always looked forward to my visits with the painter. I had to admit, as much as I couldn't wait to see her, I also couldn't wait to see what she saw. On one occasion, I went to go find her, and she was sitting peacefully with her eyes shut. "What are you doing?" I asked shyly, not wanting to interrupt her. "Hello, you," she smiled and waved me over. "Some days I find that I can notice even more when I close my eyes," she explained. The gentle rustling of my hair, the ideas dancing in my head, the sunshine on my face, and the wonder of being alive. She invited me to close my eyes. "What does home look like to you? What does kindness feel like? What does love look like?" the painter asked. "What does it feel like to have a friend? What does it look like to be one?" One of the most important ways we see is with our imagination. So many significant things cannot be seen with your eyes, but they're very real, and it is vital that you look for and believe in them. I was filled with a feeling of calm and appreciation. It was moving and wonderful. I sat there with my eyes closed, picturing the people and places and things that meant so much to me in my life. "One of the best things you can be is interested," said the painter. "When you're interested, you're curious, and when you're curious, you discover things, amazing things, about yourself and about the world. The miraculous is everywhere and in everything, waiting for us to notice it, waiting for us to appreciate it, waiting for us to love it." It's been years since that day when I first met the painter. I miss her. I wish she were still here so I could tell her what she has meant to me and how she helped me to look at everything differently. But mostly, what I wish I could say is thank you for seeing me. And thank you for listening. Now, if you're coming downstairs with me to our kids' programs, please follow me quietly and slowly down the middle aisle.
Our congregation is entirely self-governed by the democratic process. One of the privileges of our free church tradition is to provide all the financial support for our many ministries from among ourselves. Generosity, therefore, is one of the spiritual values that we recognize as central to our personal and our institutional well-being. You are now invited to participate in the blessing of giving as the ushers come among you to accept the gifts of the congregation. Thank you. is our custom in this congregation to share the joys and the sorrows that shape our lives, honoring each with the lighting of a candle. We recognize that life is not always easy, and that we all have moments of celebration and struggle. By sharing these experiences with one another, we can support and uplift each other as we navigate the significant events of our lives. The first person to share is Malcolm Munson. I have progressed quickly with my physical therapy here at Roger C. Peace Rehab Hospital and will return home this Tuesday. I want to thank the fellowship for so much support. I can't name all the individuals who have helped me, but I must especially thank Bibi Harris and Don Youngblood for their stalwart support. Visits and calls are still very much appreciated, around noon and after 3:30. Thanks again, Malcolm. The next one is anonymous, but I think we can all agree that this is especially poignant at this time. My thoughts are towards the hurricane, the human loss and damage throughout the disaster area caused by Helene. Please take care. A belated happy birthday candle to my friend Melody visiting today. That's from Laura Quisenberry. I am grateful for the love, support, and help we received during the hurricane. Tristan was very overwhelmed and cried tears of joy. That's from Alicia Ramirez Sanders. And I have one for myself too. I'm having my other knee replaced this Wednesday, and I can use all the good thoughts that you can send my way. I hope it goes as well as my first one did earlier this year. A big thank you to Linda Turner, Johnny Floyd, Steve Duda, Beth and Keith Hamilton, Linda Molinar, Cheryl Marshall, and Lynn Bell for restoration work in the flooded thrift store. Appreciation to Todd Couillard and David Frick for the generous use of their generators as well. The thrift shop was open for business yesterday and also donated 2 large bags of warm clothes to go to Asheville folk affected by Helene. After the service today, there will be a big sale. Hugs to you all, the thrift shop team. And then, last but certainly not least, it's Annette Garver's 90th birthday today. Please. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy And please join us in the fellowship afterwards, where we'll continue to celebrate her birthday.
Our meditation words today actually come from Facebook. I stole it. It's titled Mutual Aid. The meshes we weave become the nets we'll cast to fish us from the floods. Cast with care, weave with love, weave with love.
I'm Bebe Harris, and I have the privilege today to introduce our guest speaker, Glenis Redmond. She's a poet, an author, a teacher, an activist, a mother, and a grandmother. She's a South Carolinian, currently living in Greenville, but she's also spent many years in Asheville, so I know, as our hearts do, her heart goes out to the people that have been affected by the Hurricane Helene. She has received many accolades and honors over the years, too numerous to mention here. There are some mentioned in your orders of service. She's the inaugural Poet Laureate of Greenville, a Kennedy Center teaching artist, and has received the highest arts award from the South Carolina governor, the Award for the Arts. And she's published both nationally and internationally. She was the founder of the Greenville Poetry Slam in the 1990s, and that's actually where I first experienced and was awestruck by her work. As a former teacher, I also particularly admire her work with children and youth, and particularly youth, people of color, all across the country, to encourage and inspire them to find their own creative voices. She is truly a national treasure. Please welcome Glenis Redmond.
Good morning, everyone. I am so glad to be here, and Bebe, thank you for that introduction, and you don't have to tell us what decade I started doing anything. It's starting to catch up with me, but I thank you. And Sabrina, thank you for the invitation to come to talk today, and Reverend Chris Hoffman, thank you for allowing me to be up here in the pulpit. You all, I am not a preacher. You will not get a sermon today, although I have been called the poetry preacher at times. I do want to say from my bio, there are a couple of things that you mentioned. I'm the grandmother. They call me Gaga. And I will have to say, of my accolades of being a Gaga to Julian, who's 10, and Paisley, who's 3, and Quinn, who's 2, they have Irish twins, that I'm just the best job ever. And I know there are some people who can co-sign with me about grandparenthood. I am grateful to be here. I am a little shaky because I would say it's because of Helene, and it is, but I'm always shaky. I'm a poet. We listen and we notice everything. That's why I love the children's book that David Funderburk wrote. It's just beautiful. We're always in tune. So what I would like for us to do before I bring some poetry to you all is that we all just take a deep breath. Come on, let's do that together. Can we do that one more time? It is just so important that we ground and we just be present where we are and in this moment. I am thankful to be here. I am grateful to be here. I am a hometown girl. I'm from Greenville. I'm from actually Piedmont. But I also will say something that's a little bit controversial. I am bi-Carolinian. We raised our children, so my heart is severed, as many of us, our hearts are severed at this moment. But can we ask any time when our heart is not branching off into all the places and all the people that we care about and all the people that we've lost? That is part of the human existence. And the carrying on and the stepping forward, even in that when we're holding those with us who are gone and those who are suffering, and we ourselves are suffering, we still step forward. I wanted to start with a poem that's not my own. I want to start with a poem that many of us all know. Her name is Mary Oliver. And I was thinking, I said, I titled this before Helene, The Wonder of Nature. Woo. But you know what? Wonder is we're still in wonder of it, in awe. Because you know what awe and wonder means? Reverential fear. We can see the power. we can witness the power of nature. Not just nature, but human nature. And in this devastating time, we have seen acts of kindness. We have seen acts of beauty. And that is what gets us up and keeps us going. This poem is a very popular poem by her. She came to Asheville, and only in Asheville where you have a poet come and she was sold out. And she did all of her poems, and at the end, she didn't do this poem, and everybody started chanting, "Wild geese, wild geese." I said, I'm with my people, okay? So I wanted to just start off with wild geese. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I'll tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountain and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. I find myself always going back to poetry when I am in times. It has been my solace. It has been what has kept me in my life. I come to you as a person with many ailments and did not know for a long time what was going on with me. It wasn't until I found out that I had this condition. And this condition that I have is called HSP. Anybody heard of HSP in here? HSP is highly sensitive person. Lighting is too much for me, sound is too much for me, I don't watch horror movies, I don't, just go into a room, if somebody's been arguing, I can feel the argument that's happened. Some of you might find yourself in this. I had a doctor who gave me an exam, and when she gave me the exam, and she had doing these chemistry allergy prongs on me, and I came back the next week and I had all these bruises on my body, and she said, I have a book for you. And it was The Highly Sensitive Person. So I called my mother in Piedmont, South Carolina. I was living in Asheville, and I said, Mom, I'm a highly sensitive person, and I read to her what it was. My mother just started crying and said, oh my God, it is not all my fault. So this poem is for all the HSPs out there. You are my tribe. I wish somebody when I was young would have just said, you are an artist, you are an HSP. Things would have made more sense to me when I was 5 and 6. But this poem is called Make No Apologies for Yourself. And I offer it to you as a gift for you to go back into your past and those places that need to be seen and need to be heard, that you will tend to those. Make no apologies for yourself. Dear you, make no apology for yourself because you are covered in a listening skin, because every ache you feel is not your own, because of the bowl of sorrow your mother carries, because of your father's wildfire moves, because of how many rivers they cross, because of the lynching tree. Because when you enter bookstores, volumes fall off shelves into your open palms. Because you ask questions of the universe and it answers and open to you like a page. Because you can read the sky, those clouds and those murder of crows. Because poets are your wounded idols. Because the truth, even if it hurts, it is to be cherished in hell. And just because people die does not mean they don't walk with you daily. Because the river has a mouth that speaks their names. Because the river flows with stories. Because you sit on the shore and listen. because alone is sometimes more comforting than being together, because your pen is oceanic, because you are eyes wide, equipped with outer and inner sight, because you suffer from what you see and hear, because you have sinus arrhythmia and your breath is short, because asthma is one of the monkeys on your back, because your heart is the vehicle you choose to ride this go-round, because it can go forward and backwards in time, because bookstores are your oracles, because poetry is your greatest archaeological tool, because you plummet even though you can barely swim, because you trust the ride of journal and journey, even if you do not always float, because your heart beats to your breath. Because of this music, you dance wild and raw. Thank you. I want to share and why I was thinking about so much about nature. And I think in my life, I've always thought about nature. I've always been one who stayed in nature. I just wanted to do a few poems out of my latest book, which is called The Song of Everything, a poet's exploration of South Carolina state parks. And in 2019, I was diagnosed with stage 3 multiple myeloma. It was 6 months before the pandemic hit, and I was busy trying to, save my life, and then COVID came in, and then I was taking care of my grandson, Julian, who was 5. We were both addicted to screens. He was addicted to the gaming screen. I was addicted to Netflix and watching every horse movie I could find. And the reason I was watching horse movies is because they would come to me in dreams, and these noble creatures would tell me, you are going to be okay. And so I just couldn't get enough, and people would invite me to their farms. I watched them, and I just, so one of the things I said to Julian, I said, we're going to get out. We're going to get out, and we're going to start going to the parks. So I wrote this book, and I also started posting on Instagram. Be careful of social media. I was posting, and I said, I'm writing a poem for each park. And a publisher said, if you're writing a poem for every park, let's make a book. And so it came to be. Without trying to even make a book, I made a book. And so I wanted to share some poems. Are you guys okay hearing a few poems out of this? Okay. Some of these are really, really short. They're called Kwansabas. It's taken from the African American celebration Kwanzaa. So it's 7-day celebration right after Christmas. And so the poem form has 7 lines, 7 words in each line. No word over 7 letters, unless it's a proper noun. Then you can cheat a little bit. So I'm just going to read a few that tell a little bit of my jaunt with Julian, and then I'll close. The first one is, Start Here at Paris Mountain. I learned I had stage 3 cancer. I wanted to be among living things. Doctors didn't order nature as a cure. My lungs longed for crisp, clean air. My face wanted to feel the sun. I traveled to Paris. Mountain, that is. Each blade of grass helps me fight. And nodding to the children's book, I wanted to just do one poem that talks about who I was before, and it's called Head in the Clouds. My 3rd grade teacher droned on. If it was not a game of 7-Up or Around the World or Story Time, you find me in a pose for picture day. Chin resting on 2 fists, amber eyes gazing out the window at the maple or the oak or a sparrow. They asked me to join their dance. I never turned down an invitation to move. I became the wind, a gale. My dress flounced and I twirled under the blue dome of the sky. My daydream drifts on as I shift into clouds. My teacher interrupts. Glenis, are you paying attention? I answer, yes. Always yes. I, already a poet, taking note. And then I'm gonna do 2 short ones. This one that I've been feeling pretty heavily, basically how how I got to this book. And I won't talk about it, but if you want to talk a little bit about it after. But my mother tends to be the person where I get most of my history, most of my knowledge passed to me, because a lot of our history cannot be retrieved in the library, in the archives. My mother, who is 88 years young, will always tell me a story that grounds me. So here is the impetus of this book. Well, not the impetus, because I was writing the book about me and Julian going to the parks and trying to find ourselves, find that stillness, that place. And here, this is the moment that I realized this is everywhere, because this is America. So I'm going to read two Quinsalas back to back. Even in nature, the color lines were drawn back then. Schools, too. It's held in the name. Fountain Inn Colored High School. My parents' alma mater. Bulldogs last class, 1954. Mama recalls, we went to Paris Mountain for our senior class trip. I research. Correct her. You went to Pleasant Ridge. How yesterday holds today. Blue skies above, this is for Paris Mountain too. Blue skies above and the trail below, we too go, not just for ourselves, not just for us. At Lake Placid we sit and I wonder about elders and ancestors who could not grace these grounds before. Laws, whites only. My grandson's hand in mine, a circle. As they hover, the past is present. And this one is at the Hampton Plantation Historic Site, at Rose Hill Plantation State Park Historic Site, the lease given. Instead of the name of the governor or the roses in each and every plant in the garden, give me the names of every black hand that turned in the field, in the house for 128 years. And in closing, I would like to do two poems that, thank you. It's a lot, I know. They're little poems, but they pack a punch, right? But I wanted to put in here, so there's 47 state parks. Julie and I have been to 25, because I'm a type A Virgo. Because I said, we're going to all of them, grandson. And so we're at 25, and you get an ultimate outsider badge when you finish. So, yes, we do it for stillness in nature, and yes, we get a certificate. And we're gonna get a t-shirt made, and we're gonna have cake. So it's like the one thing of going to these parks and understanding there's history, there's heavy history in South Carolina, but there's also beauty right alongside it. And isn't that like life? Isn't that like all of us every day to walk hand in hand with beauty and struggle? So this is the poem. I have this poem, and I'm gonna close with a poem to close us. But this poem I wrote for my grandson, who people say, well, does he love the poem that you wrote for him? He says, it's all right. This poem is for Julian. It's called Every Wonder Belongs to You. Dear Julian, always remember to go outside. Look up, catch the light, no matter the color of the sky. Remember to let the gift of the day pour into you. Julian, always strive for the light and know you are the light, and that your light makes me lighter and you make the whole world brighter. You make me smile more often and laugh heartier. When I look at life through your eyes, I see possibilities. You help the world turn around. We are a circle of endings and beginnings. Between the both of us, life-giving trees. I hand you gold, you give me green, with your small hand in mine. Together, we hear what the leaves whisper in conversation with the wind. Julian, please know our getaways are not leavings, but arrivals. A chance to look in the still pond of ourselves, a necessary remembering. I take you here for you to find that nature is necessary as breath. A prescription I write for you. From my heart to yours, I will always draw you a map of how to retreat, how to take to the wild as often as possible, to read the lessons written on every leaf, upon each ripple of the lake, in every bird call and in every trail of ants. There, if you look, you will see how life flows. Julian, I want you to know every wonder belongs to you, though some will say otherwise. Go anyhow. Your passage has been paid. Be an ultimate outsider wherever you go. It's up to you to forge on. Remember, it's the destination and the journey. Remember our rain prayers. Remember, even when I have turned to nothing but air, and I am carried away by a strong gale. Know I will be there with you, out in the green and gold meadows, in the gloaming. My hand will be in yours, and I will be singing as everything sings to you. Grandson, listen with your whole self, and with your whole self, sing back. Thank you. That poem is gonna be turned into a children's book. And I wanna close, and I wanna thank you all for listening. And I hope you go with your tender, vulnerable hearts and be fierce out into the world. I wanna close with this last poem. It's called My Favorite Season, which this is my favorite season. I don't know how many people love fall like I do, but yes. My favorite season. I felt the Tacoma fall chill air as I walked alongside Renee Button in my favorite coat, the one with the faux fur collar and magnetic clasps as buttons. I struggled to meet her long stride, but we twinned with our plaited hair. When we entered her hush-filled home, she did not warn me of her mama lying on the couch taking a nap, on her way to somewhere from which she would not return. But I was not every one of her bones pronounced, but I was not afraid. I felt the room hum around me like it did in chapel, when the rays of the light shone about me through stained glass windows, when she extended her skinny branch of an arm and circled me with her voice, clear as the dome of sky outside. Glenis, come here, come here. Don't you know I love you? Me, a scruff, a muffin little girl, what did I know of love? But her words made a solid landing. I think it was about the place she was going. I think it was about the words I had never heard uttered to me. Every autumn, I think of Mrs. Langley, when the leaves turn golden, rust, and ruby and begin their dancing descent. I can feel her brightness upon me, especially now in my own cancer journey. I remember the gifts she gave me, and I too never hesitate to say to anyone in need, I love you. Thank you. I love you.
Would you join me in the words in your bulletin for extinguishing the chalice? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And for the benediction today, we call for this blessing on all sheltered here, whether in body or in spirit. May the flame of our community ignite a love bold enough to share. And in return, may we all be embraced by a love that remains constant in days of great gladness and times of great difficulty. Blessed be.